the background. And while we're waiting, if you would like to share your name and your art practice and or org affiliation, if you have one, just so that we know a little bit about you before we get started. And we'll start in a few minutes. Thank you.
And we're live on Facebook.
Welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us.
Hi everyone, we're giving it maybe one more minute to let people join. And if you're here with us already, go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat, your name. If you have an art practice, you can share that. If you have an organizational affiliation, you can share that. And we'll start in just another minute. Thank you. Okay, welcome again, everyone. Thank you for your patience. Other folks will probably be joining us in the next few minutes, but we'll go ahead and get started. And excuse me. My name is Betty Marin. I'm a program manager with the Alliance for California Traditional Arts. Welcome to our Traditional Arts Roundtable today on navigating unemployment for artists during COVID-19. So it's part of our now online series and our efforts to provide resources during the pandemic, during this difficult time. Before we begin, we also want to acknowledge that wherever you are, we are all guests on Native land. So we want to begin our session today with respect and gratitude for Native peoples, past, present, and future. If you would like to, please feel free to share the Native land where you live in the chat box. In my case, I live in Los Angeles, and so it's largely Tongva land. So for those of you less familiar with the Alliance for California Traditional Arts, or ACTA, we're a statewide organization that works to promote and support ways for cultural traditions to thrive now and into the future through different programs like this one, services, and funding opportunities. For over 21 years, we've served as the official state partner for the CAC in serving the folk and traditional arts field. This program, the Traditional Arts Roundtable, is rooted in the needs of traditional artists. So it's really a space to share resources for artists who present their work and to also create dialogue between artists and supporters. At the end of today's session, we are going to invite you to give us more ideas, tell us what you would like to hear from us in this roundtable series. So stay tuned for that. We also want to thank our funders, the Los Angeles County Department of Arts and Culture, the San Francisco Arts Commission, the California Arts Council, and the National Endowment for the Arts. And this whole program is made possible through an amazing team at ACTA that includes Amy Kitchener, who's our executive director and co-founder. Amy, if you want to wave, maybe you all can see her in the video box. We also have, let me show you, myself, I already introduced myself, Jennifer Jameson, who's our program manager and also media director, and Julian Carrillo, who is also a program manager at ACTA, who's going to be helping us with Q&A. So for safety, we are keeping everyone muted. So please type your questions in the chat box. We have programmed hopefully enough time to answer all or the majority of your questions. For anybody, if anybody is joining us by phone, you can also text your questions to Julian. And I'm going to go ahead and give that number. It's 915-345-6162. 915-345-6162. You're also welcome to chat Julian privately to send your question as well. So we are recording this on Facebook Live, so it'll definitely be available to view after the session and to share out with friends. Today's session, as we mentioned, is focused on unemployment insurance and the pandemic unemployment assistance. And we're really excited to have Veronica Lopez, who's a senior business counselor at the Pacific Asian Consortium in Employment, or PACE. PACE is a nonprofit 501c3 community lender that promotes the growth and economic expansion of diverse LA communities through the infusion of capital and the provision of business consultation services and financial literacy training. So thank you so much, Veronica, for joining us. Veronica is going to share a lot more about the work of PACE and of course focus on, unemployment insurance and the PUA. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Veronica. Thanks so much.
Oh, thank you, Betty. So thank you for allowing me to be here. Actually, this is one of the first times I get an opportunity to work with artists. So that's like a big privilege for me. So at PACE, we provide various types of economic solutions to meet minorities and underserved communities in the LA County. One of the things that we try to do is provide employment services. Next slide. Employment services, education, housing, environmental services, and lastly, business services. Today, I'm just going to talk to you a little bit before we get started about the business services. In the last 2 months, our office has seen over 1,000 business owners contact our office. A lot of it is for small business disaster loan assistance, and we welcome that. We also found the need to educate ourselves about the pandemic unemployment assistance. So we traditionally do not offer unemployment at the business center, but we do offer it as part of our employment services. So I'm glad to be able to assist you with that. Next slide. So a little bit about PACE. So PACE was established to help communities build wealth, whether it's like through financial education and through investing through capital or technical assistance to small businesses. It's to assist you in either helping your bottom line or your business bottom line. And we also are a CDFI, so a Certified Community Development Financial Institution with the U.S. Treasury. We're also an SBA lender and a Women's Business Center. So we offer various types of programs, and you are probably eligible for one or many of the programs that we offer. What's new for PACE and we're trying to promote is that we are offering procurement services like government contracting or private sector contracting. That might be of interest to some of you, that will allow you to maybe expand your services more than you might have been able to do before. We also help you with creating a capacity statement, helping you get certifications for your small business. Next slide. Okay. So these are our core programs. So counseling, technical assistance, workshops. Right now, everyone's doing webinars, so are we. If you would like to look at just starting a small business, I know all of you are in a small business, but if you're wanting to look like a crash course in that, we have a series called the Basic Business Training. It already started, but it's only been one class, so you can feel free to jump on board and start taking that. But we also offer that quarterly, so you can check back to our website. As I mentioned, we offer like capital assistance. So our loans range from $500 to $20 million. We also get credit for assisting you package the loan, even if you don't apply for the loan at our location. So if you're interested in maybe applying with a loan for Wells Fargo, we can still help you package the loan because that's still part of technical assistance. And we're also a VITA site, so a volunteer income tax assistance site. And we also help people build their credit because credit helps in so many ways, whether it's personal or for business. Next slide. Okay, so we're gonna get right to it. My slides are not focused just on unemployment. It's more focused on the CARES Act and the pandemic unemployment assistance. So it's really focused on that. So there are 3 levels of coverage. The first level is the federal pandemic unemployment compensation, which is if you are an employee working with someone formally, you will receive, if you apply for unemployment, you will receive $600 additional to the UI benefits that you could receive. And I put this out of order, but the pandemic unemployment assistance, the PUA, that's specifically for people who are not usually traditionally qualified for unemployment insurance. So that would be you, artists, if you have a small business, or if you're self-employed or you're independent contractor as an artist. And that applies from February 2nd to December 26th. And the way that the EDD is filing those claims is you submit the claim and there is no waiting period. So once they receive your claim, they take you as your word, that's the income you made, and they will approve you once you enter your claim. So it may take like 1 to 2 days. We've seen clients get a response 1 or 2 days that their claim is in process. Because at that moment they cannot confirm, because many of you are just stating your income, they're actually going to give everyone the base amount, which is $167 a week. Okay, and between March 29th to July 25th, of course, you have the additional $600 stimulus payment. Once that time is up, actually, if you go to the next slide. Okay. So this just kind of gives you a timeline, but from February 2nd to March 28th, it's $167 if you're unemployed due to the pandemic. And then from March 29th to July 27th, then you get an additional $600. After July 25th, what's going to happen is you're going to go back down to that base weekly amount that they were going to give you. So for sole proprietors, independent contractors, everyone's going to get $167 because at the point they're not able to confirm your income. Next slide. Okay. So the stimulus, the federal pandemic unemployment compensation, the $600 stimulus payment. So that you're eligible as long as you claim that, as long as you're eligible for $1 of benefits. So I encourage everyone, just go ahead and apply with whatever income you have, because the system will just let you know whether or not you're eligible. I think some people are like, oh, I may not be eligible. Well, just go ahead and apply. The EDD also is encouraging us to just tell people to go ahead and apply, because they don't want to tell you no. They just want you to find out, because the system will automatically do it. Okay. There are only 2 exceptions. So people who are in training extensions or state special school benefits, they're not eligible. Next slide. Okay, so the PUA, so the $600,000, but also the one that only is eligible for business owners or self-employed. Okay, so it offers 39 weeks of benefits, and like I mentioned, there's no waiting period. It's from February 2nd to December 26th. So the way that it works is actually you state the date that you stop receiving earnings. So the assistance started on February 2nd, but if your experience was like, because of the safer order, you stopped working on like March 26th, and that's the day you actually started unemployment as a self-employed person. The best part about the PUA is it's retroactive. So let's just say you're like, oh, I haven't applied. I'm only going to get from now until July. No, you actually will get from now until the date that you are stating was the date that you stop working as sole proprietor independent contractor. So that's like the best benefit about the PUA. And also, if you, they're using your net income from 2019. So like I mentioned, they're using base pay as 167. That everybody gets it. As long as you apply, you're going to get that amount. But if you actually made more than that, then your benefit can go up to $450 for your own earnings, additional to the $600 that you get weekly. Next slide. Okay. So there's an additional 13 weeks of coverage. So after July 25th, once that ends, then there's an extension of an additional 13 weeks that I believe leaves us up to December 26th. And just so you know, the EDD has a lot of YouTube videos. So if you're interested in one specific topic, this is just, there's a YouTube video for specifically the extension. So the additional 13 weeks after the $600 stimulus payment is exhausted. And just so you know, this extension is automatic. So once you're in the system and you already filed a UI claim, this extension, I believe earlier this month, the EDD started processing all the extensions. Next slide. Okay, so to file a claim, so the best way to file a claim, of course, is to do it online. Be careful when you're entering the information online. So 2 tips that I would suggest is make sure that, because they're going to ask you information about the Social Security card and your ID. And we've had people's claims be stopped because they entered the wrong information on those 2 documents. So you want to make sure, just to double, you know, if there's any doubt in your mind that the name, maybe you have a middle name and you don't put it on your Social Security and you did put it on your ID, make sure those are correct. You want to try to avoid any errors during the process when you're submitting, because it will actually hold up your claim. You can submit by phone. I suggest don't do that right now. They're so overwhelmed that actually when you call in, they're just saying, you know, due to the amount of phone calls, they actually will just hang up on you, unfortunately. A lot of people suggest calling as soon as they open, which is at 8 a.m. So you might have better luck, but for the most part, it's actually hard right now to get to a representative. You can also fax or mail the application. I know, Betty, I sent it to you, but we'll probably be able to send that to you all, or you just go there and click. I actually highly suggest for people to take a look at that PDF, because some people are surprised by the questions like, oh, I didn't know I had to submit that from my employer. I don't remember my old boss's name. So questions like that come up. So if you get a chance to look at the PDF or see the paper application, then you're better prepared to answer the questions when you're online. Because they ask you a lot of information about past employment. The key for you as independent contractors or sole proprietors is that they're going to ask you if you've worked or been employed in the last 18 months. So the answer is no, and then that will actually direct you to the PUA benefits. It's going to start asking you questions specifically for the self-employed. So you have to say no. that you have not been employed or working for anyone in the last 18 months. And actually, some people, Betty mentioned, maybe working part-time. If you are working part-time, that's okay. You still want to go ahead and say no. And then when you self-certify, you can report the income that you are working from that part-time job. So that's how that would work. Because if you say yes, you're technically not applying for PUA, independent contractor. You're actually applying for regular unemployment. Yeah, and if you have any questions, you can send me an email about that. But that's actually the key to getting directly to the PUA. You also want to indicate that you are out of work as a result of COVID-19. That's another, that's letting them know that you are your sole proprietor independent contractor. And then there's a question about the best industry and occupation. Don't get hung up on that. Just go ahead, choose the one that best fits you. They're not really that interested in that. That's more like them collecting data. But yeah, there are questions about if you're willing to take other employment. Right now they're waiving that, but just go ahead and say, yes, I'm willing to take any job you can give me. Because then that'll allow you to receive the benefits. It doesn't in any way mean that you have to take any job that they give you. It just, that's something that's required to certify for the UI benefits. And they also have a YouTube video on how to apply for the UI benefits where they actually walk you through someone doing a claim. Next slide. Okay, so after you submitted the claim, the EDD is going to mail you a letter. And it's going to come within 2 weeks. If it doesn't come in 2 weeks, then that's maybe a time where you want to reach out to them. I still would encourage you not to call them. The best way is log back in. You can actually log into the account that you've created 2 days later. You can do it the next day, and you can actually see if they process it, and it'll actually tell you what the amount of claims that you're eligible for. They will also tell you you can check the file or the claim you've submitted on that when you log in as well. You also have a contact us section. So you actually want to use the contact section. That's the best way to contact them. So just emailing them, and they do respond to the contact us if you send them an email. But to me, I found that's actually been the best way because they can also see all the information about your account. The EDD, when they send you that letter of confirmation, letting you know whether or not it's the correct information, you want to check it. You don't want to have there to be any errors. You also, they may be sending you more communication. Most of the communication is by mail, but if you're getting you want to respond to them right away. Like if they send you email or anything like that, because it could hold up or they will actually stop payments because it might be a certification question. Maybe they're verifying your income, whatever it is that they're doing, or they just want to work with them. And I forgot one thing about submitting a claim. When you submit a claim, it's going to give you a confirmation number. So keep that confirmation number because that's your proof that you submitted the claim. One other thing, and this is just, I don't think the EDD would approve, but there's actually no issue with this, is you can, if that account doesn't work, you can just create another account with another email. And there's actually no conflict. There's really nothing wrong with that, but you're just creating 2 accounts because for whatever reasons, maybe you're just not able to process your first claim. Yeah. And then you're not required technically to look for work during this time. But I just encourage clients just to say, yes, if you give me a job, I will apply for that job. You know, it just, it's perfectly fine. Next slide. So the way that EDD pays is once you get that first letter of confirmation, which will probably be in a week, and another week, they'll send you your EDD debit card from Bank of America. So that card, if you already received UI benefits before, it's actually good for 3 years. So if some of you have received UI benefits, you probably want to contact Bank of America if you've lost the card or you threw it away, to have them reissue it, because the way the EDD works, that card is where they're going to deposit the money. So if you've already been issued a card before, okay, and you don't want to contact Bank of America about your claims, that's actually just EDD. Bank of America is just really hosting your money. All they can really do is provide you with ATM and teller assistance. What you can do is, once the money is deposited into your Bank of America account, you can transfer it to your regular checking account or whatever account that you prefer to use. But all claim information, you have to work with EDD, and only very little bit is Bank of America. They do more like the logistics of the ATM card. Next slide. Okay, so to certify, so every 2 weeks you have to log into UI Online with the customer account number that they mail to you, and you have to just let them know. They're going to ask you a series of questions all about your employment search, if you received any money. And for those that are both artists, sole proprietors and businesses, and you work full-time, this is a time where you can declare that income that's part-time work, or full, even if it's full-time work and you have both, you need to declare or state that income. You can call online and actually do it through an automated system, and they'll just ask you the questionnaire there. But you do need to create a 4-digit PIN before you're able to do that. Like I mentioned, the EDD likes doing everything by mail. So you can also just, you're going to get the certification letter, fill it out, and just mail it back to EDD. Just be careful. Some people are just concerned that it'll get lost, or they won't receive it in time, and it'll hold up their benefits, or them receiving their benefits. Just so you know, I haven't seen any changes with the CARES Act, but that I know of. The unemployment benefits are technically taxed on a federal level. They're not taxed by the state. So they're going to ask you if you want to withhold taxes. I tell people withhold taxes because we don't know the outcome of this pandemic. We don't know how long it's going to take. And then you don't want to not have withhold taxes, and then at the end of the year you owe taxes for the pandemic assistance you receive. So that's just like more of a recommendation. Next slide. Okay, so I guess I'm open for questions.
Great.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
And yeah, I'll pass it over to Julian.
Okay, thank you. We have about 10, 11 questions at the moment.
Okay.
Can everyone hear me okay, Veronica?
Yes.
Okay, great. The first question, is there an income limit after which you cannot qualify for an employment? Or does PUA cover all forms of underemployment from loss of gigs and not include other side income streams?
So you can, okay, so that I know of, technically there's not a limit of how much you could have been making, if that's the question. So if you lost income, you can apply. And I'm sorry, Julian, I think their question is once they're receive the unemployment benefits, and then if they have the second income, would that income disqualify them from unemployment? Is that what they're asking?
I'll read it again. It says, is there an income limit after which you cannot qualify for unemployment? Or does PUA cover all forms of underemployment from lost gigs and not include other side income streams?
It does cover all, it does cover all underemployment, like sole proprietor, small businesses, yes. The person should just go ahead and apply, because when they apply, they have to state all their income, and the system will automatically let them know whether or not they're eligible. And then even if they have another side gig, when they self-certify, they have to also report that income. And that's when they're going to let them know whether or not it's over the income.
Okay, thank you. Second question. I received a fellowship last year from Dance USA for about $25,000. Can I consider that amount as wages for unemployment?
I don't believe so. But I'll have to check on that one because I actually don't know if whether or not they can count that. Only because as you know, we're working with small businesses, and most of them don't have like a fellowship as a type of source of income for their business.
Thank you. The third question, is this meeting only for those who are unemployed or need assistance procuring a job? And I believe we answered that in the chat, that it is for those who are unemployed and also looking, right? I'll move on to the fourth question. What if you are underemployed because of COVID, but not fully unemployed? Can you qualify if you're getting less work than previously, but not zero work?
Yes, you can. Because what they're going to ask you is they're going to ask you your net income for 2019. So the income you make now and the income you make in 2019, there's a drop. So yes.
Thank you. Another question. I have a small amount of income from teaching and online performances, I'm sorry. Will this make me ineligible for PUA?
Is she concerned that it's too small? Is that what it is, that the amount is too small?
Susie, if you want to post something there, I'll follow up in the chat. We might be able to delve deeper.
It sounds like that's what her concern was. Like, is there a minimum amount of income that that I know of for pandemic unemployment? I have not heard of a minimum amount, but for regular unemployment, there is. So regular unemployment for at least one of the last 4 quarters, they need to make at least $1,300. But for the pandemic unemployment, I haven't heard of a minimum income, but there is for regular unemployment.
Okay, there's a follow-up to that from Susie. She says,
okay.
No, I am wondering if I can file for unemployment when I am partially unemployed. She's not concerned with minimum income.
Okay, but she's partially unemployed due to employment or due to business, like her business income is reduced?
Well, her income is coming from teaching and online performances. I'm not
okay,
sure.
then yes, that she would be. Yeah.
She's self-employed.
Yeah,
self-employed musician.
Yeah, then yes, exactly. So for the people who are sole proprietors, it's the drop in income that qualifies them for PUA. So they were making so much and now they're making less. And so what they're doing with the applying is they're actually saying, this is how much my income was, and this is what my income is now, as they self-certify every week. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Gabriela put in the chat that she can file. Okay, so let me see. Another question, this one's a longer one. It states, I am a freelance musician earning income from private teaching, independent contractor work, and performance. My private teaching work has continued via video conferencing, while other work has ceased due to the stay-at-home orders, and my income has been reduced. I had some W-2 income in 2019, which disqualified me from PUA and routed my application for assistance to UI. Each week, when I am to certify benefits through UI, I am asked if I look for work. I am told if I answer no, I may be disqualified from benefits. Based on that, I have answered yes, with the consideration that I have tried to get new private students during this time. By answering yes, I then have to report any income I have earned in the week, and I have done so honestly, reporting my teaching income. Doing so has disqualified me from any benefits. Should I, or am I in fact eligible for some kind of assistance? And if so, am I answering these UI questions in a manner that is incorrect?
So what happened is when he put the W-2 income, it actually made him like just regular unemployment. So he didn't qualify for PUA because that's for sole proprietors. So it actually categorized him as just an unemployed person. So that's why the amount was like that. But what he can do is he can appeal. So you can actually go onto the EDD website and just, you can request for appeal. And it might be that he can explain that the W-2 income was, was smaller because it sounds like he still treats it like it's his business, even though it's like, it's private, but it's still like, as a whole, it's part of his kind of like business. Is that's kind of what I'm understanding.
Just a quick note, Julian, when there are follow-up questions for Veronica or it's unclear what the person is saying, we're happy to unmute that person so that they can clarify. So you can just let us know the name and we'll unmute them.
We have unmuted Quentin, actually.
Quentin, that's his question.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, the W-2 income I had was for a part-time job. It was a 4-hour-a-week teaching job that I left in July of last year. But all of the, in the application process for PUA, it said if you have any W-2 income, you have to go through UI.
Yeah, so then technically you were listed as just regular, you're like an employee. That's why. But you can appeal and you can say most of my income came from my business income. And then they'll probably request for your 2019 tax return just to verify. But you can try that.
I haven't been able to also then file my 2019 taxes yet. Do I have
then they'll use, do you have your 2018 taxes?
Yes, and that's the number I used for my original application.
Okay. Well, I mean, the only thing I can recommend is for you just to appeal and explain your case, because I think they're just treating you as a regular unemployed individual, so you're not eligible for PUA then.
And how do I appeal then?
Oh, let me see if I can find the link.
We also have Gabriela, who has some insight into this. If we can unmute her, she might be able to share something.
Jen, I just have the option of asking to unmute, but I'm not able to unmute Gabriela.
Yeah, I'm actually encountering that same. Oh, there she is. She should be able to.
Hi. Hi, Amy.
Go ahead,
Hi,
Gabriela,
Gabriela.
you wanted to add something?
No, I wasn't sure if he had filed a regular unemployment claim or a PUA. What kind of claim did he file?
I started at the PUA, and well, honestly, I can't remember now. I think
Yeah, that's the first find out if you have an unemployment insurance claim or a PUA. It's two different things. You cannot apply if you do not qualify for unemployment insurance. Then you can apply for PUA. It's not the other way around.
Well, I started with PUA, and the verbiage icon. At this point, I can't remember. You get passed around to so many websites, I can't keep track of where I actually was and what I actually applied for. But I thought it was all connected. I thought what happened was I went to PUA. It said if you have any W-2 income.
But did you work in the year 2019?
I did.
Like bona fide employment?
Sorry, say that again.
Bona fide employment
Bona fide.
or self-employment?
Well, here's the thing. I do all sorts of different work, and some of it gets reported as W-2, but it's completely identical to any other work that I do.
Okay, so maybe you are under unemployment insurance and not in the pandemic assistance. So that's the problem there.
And explain to them that you, even though you had the W-2, you weren't attempting to apply for that unemployment for that W-2. You were attempting to apply for PUA under sole
It doesn't matter.
proprietorship.
it doesn't matter because we have the wages. We can see the wages. So we know if they go to unemployment or if they don't have nothing in unemployment, then they will go to the PUA. It's not that you choose to do the PUA and reject the unemployment. We can see that. If we don't see that, then we push them into PUA.
So I have to appeal at this link that you sent that's through.
No, you don't have to appeal. What you have to do is find out what happened to your claim, because maybe you have an active valid claim and you don't know.
I'm just getting more and more confused. How do I find out what happened to my claim?
Well, the problem here is, the truth is that the phones are all busy. You can either fax a letter and somebody can take care of that. You can also call this number. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
You can also call this number, which is an answering service. Somebody will get your name and your social security number, and they will call you back and assist you in 2 or 3 days after.
Where does that number go to?
It's an answering service. Somebody will get to you and will give that number to one of the representatives to take care of your claim.
Can you show the number again, Gabriela? And I just want to thank Gabriela too for joining in unofficially here.
I don't know if you can see it. It's upside down. It's 833-978-2511.
I also posted it in the chat box for everyone.
Yeah, that's another option, because the 866 number, it's almost impossible, impossible.
Let me just ask too, Veronica, if we have more specific questions, can people email you also after this? Are you able to kind of correspond with people one-on-one?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. I keep getting disconnected. I don't know if you noticed, but I just keep dropping. It must be my internet. But yes, I'll be happy to. Yeah.
Thank you. Let's move on to some more questions, and we'll do our best. This is so clunky, but we just want to be able to get to everyone and hear, and hopefully you'll be able to hear something that might even relate to your question.
Next question, thank you. This is from SL. Is there a way to apply directly to the PAC without going through the process of getting denied regular state unemployment first? And then they add, because I worked out of state, they will not let me apply via the website and require me to submit unemployment application through a fax, and I never heard anything back.
Can you repeat the question? You're just cutting out, so.
I can clarify this if that helps. Because I earned $2,000 teaching out of state, which makes it so that I'm not allowed to apply for California unemployment on the website. It says the only way I can apply is via fax. And I sent in a fax, never heard anything back. And of course, I've been unable to reach anybody on the phone. So I know that I did not make enough money last year to qualify me for regular unemployment. But I just basically have been in a loop of being bumped from website to website and unable to figure anything out.
I don't really have an answer for you, because that's been the experience of a lot of people, is just trying to reach them over the phone. I would just recommend trying to apply again, because unfortunately that's like the case for everyone. That you just can't really reach anyone right now. Yeah.
Okay. There's another observation. It states, I submitted the EDD unemployment claim. I have the confirmation number, but never heard anything back. What should my next steps be?
Has the person, how long has it been?
You should unmute Ever Monroy, please.
Unmute who, Julian?
Ever
Well, I can just answer the
Monroy?
question. So you do have to wait a 2-week period in order to receive a confirmation letter from them. But you can give it up to 3 weeks. So if this person's been waiting like a month, oh, okay. So if this person's, I don't know if they've tried just going in, logging in, and actually checking on their claim. If they try to log in and then file a new claim, if they
I think we lost.
Sorry.
Oh, there you are.
Sorry. I think it must be my internet or something, but the person can go back, log in, check to see, try to either check the status of their claim. But if you actually go to try to file a new claim, it will tell you you can't file a claim because your claim is in process right now. So, but if she goes or he goes and she tries to file it and it actually there's actually no problem, it's not saying your claim is in process, then it probably means that it didn't go through, and he or she can just try applying again, because actually there is nothing in process. I highly doubt it though. Usually when it gives you the confirmation number, it actually is in process. They just haven't heard back. But yeah, try going online and then checking to file the claim, and then if you're able to, then just do that again.
Ever, did you want to add something to the question, or shall we move on? Okay, I think we can move on.
Okay. Next question. Can you please repeat which question directs you to the PUA application and how to answer? If I answer this question wrong, can I reapply?
Let me see. I have the application. I want to actually try to get the verbiage right. So it's basically asking you if in the last 18 months you've had employment, or to report the employment you've had in the last 18 months. So you would just say no. So once you say no, it'll actually that's kind of indication to them that you're like this, you're applying for as a sole proprietor. I'm trying to see if I can find it. Hold on. And I can share it with you. So yeah, it's the question about in the last 18 months, have you been employed or received earnings? And you just say no.
Okay, thank you. This is a follow-up from a previous one, but it says, so there is a maximum income limit to get unemployment benefits, right? What is that amount?
Actually, I don't know the maximum income to receive unemployment benefits. I don't know. I just know the minimum is $1,300. Yeah.
Okay.
I think if they have any doubt, I just usually encourage people, if you have any doubt, just apply, because the system has all your information and it will just kick you out. It'll just say.
Gabriella is saying it's 450.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And just to follow up with that, what if I have many canceled gigs, but a side income that is making a reasonable amount?
And then you can still apply. And then when you certify every 2 weeks, you just report that income.
Okay, thank you. Another question from Alex. I'm wondering if UI income counts as income when applying for food stamps.
So I actually don't know the answer to that question. Yeah, but okay. I can find out for you. I don't know, Gabrielle, if you know the answer to that question.
I think she's muted.
Gabriella, we're gonna unmute you too in case you can answer the question. Oops, Jen, can you do it?
Okay, there.
There she is.
Maybe repeat the question again, or?
One second.
Okay.
So the question is, I'm wondering if UI income counts as income when applying for food stamps.
They don't account. They don't do anything with unemployment, food stamps. It's not
Okay.
income.
Okay, thank you. Another question.
Julian, there's a clarifying question from what Gabriela mentioned about 450. Is that $450 a week that you meant?
Yeah, the maximum benefit amount is 450. So if you earn, let's say, you can make up to 600, but no more than 600. If you make 610, you will not qualify for that week benefit. Okay. If your benefit amount is 450, you can, there's a chart. It depends on how much you qualify for unemployment. If you qualify for the maximum benefit amount, which is 450, and you already earned for that week 601, you will not qualify for that week, and you will not get the stimulus, which is the 600 plus. But if you earn 559, then you qualify for, I don't know, a small amount for unemployment plus the 600 plus.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Another question is, if you file jointly with your spouse, how does that work?
Actually, I don't know, because most of the small businesses I apply, I haven't been working with spouse income, but I can find out for you, but I don't know yet.
Thank you. Another question is, what if I was accepted into PUA, but I'm now receiving self-employment income as a PPP loan? Do I need to decline my unemployment? And if so, where can I do that in the online UI interface?
I'm not familiar okay, so I'm not familiar where you would decline for the PUA online, but I think it's about the certification. You would just let them know that you're now employed. But as far as the PP, so the PP has a rule that once you receive the PP, you actually have to spend it, or you start using the cash, which I think it's like 10 days. So technically, you're now receiving income from the PP to pay yourself. And the PP, the way that it works is it's 2.5 months of your business income. So you're supposed to pay yourself as if you were paying yourself that wage. So technically, you should really stop receiving unemployment because you're actually paying yourself in the PP loan. So yeah. So I think it's like a timing thing. So if you receive the PP, then that's what you're receiving as income. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so I understand I need to be declining my PUA, but I'm confused as to how to actually do that in the online interface, because it's unclear to me how to, like when I'm certifying weeks, how to make it clear that I'm certifying kind of self-employment income through PPP. Like it just doesn't seem to fit into the form.
Okay. I don't know if Gabrielle, you know the answer to that?
You can put it on when you certify online, you can say that you are receiving, and you can put the amount of money that you receive, and that will stop payment. Or you can just not certify. And then if you become unemployed again, then you can reopen the claim.
Okay, and actually that was the simple version of the question, but it's actually more complicated what's happened in my situation, which is that the PUA has actually started to automatically send me payments for weeks that I haven't even had the chance to certify for yet.
Right.
And so now some of those weeks are legitimate, and I was legitimately unemployed and hadn't received my PPP loan yet. But some of the weeks overlap with the period where I have now received the PPP loan. So I don't know how to like give that money back and how to get in touch with someone at EDD to like unravel that situation.
Yeah.
I've tried calling many times and I can't get through.
Yeah, you will have to return that money because that's going to end up in an overpayment later on. Or I don't know if the state is going to give a forgiveness to all of that, because there's a whole bunch of people that have been, you know, it's not their fault, it's our fault, because we decided to pay because, you know, the pandemic, and we were not prepared for that. So we just paid. So some people were working and they received the money, and they will probably have to return that money. That will be the best way. But at this point, we don't know what's going to happen. What we are instructed is to, I'm trying to find the address where you can return that money. I have it somewhere. I'll give it to Julian later. But you can write a check with, you know, the amount of the extra money that you receive, and pay it back and return it.
Okay, thank you. We have someone raised their hand.
Yeah, that's me.
Unmuted.
Go ahead, Najite.
Yes, hi everybody. My question is, actually, I don't know how to get the applications to fill in. And then, you know, I was about to start teaching my school before this whole thing started. I was just trying to get my insurance because they requested for all the contractors to get insurance to teach. So I was trying to get that whole insurance, and then this whole thing started. So I couldn't go back to school. And then the mask festival that we normally do every year in Lamar Park, I also do workshops there. And I was supposed to start my workshop actually this month, and I couldn't. And so I'm losing money everywhere. So I'm not sure which application should I file and where to go get the application. So that's my question.
No, we can just email you the application. Are you okay with email?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay, and the last question is from Jonathan in the chat. Many of the artists I work with receive both a small amount of W-2 income and a much larger proportion of their income through 1099 earnings. How can they apply for the PUA successfully?
Can you repeat the question?
Gladly. Many of the artists I work with receive both a small amount of W-2 income and a much larger proportion of their income through 1099 earnings. How can they apply for PUA successfully?
I mean, in general, I would suggest like just going ahead and applying and just trying, because the UI system, like as you enter the information, the system will automatically let them know based on the information they're providing. So I really just encourage them just to go ahead and apply. In the application or in the questions, they'll just ask them a question about the source of income, like sole proprietor. As long as they choose that, they're probably more likely to get the PUA, because they're saying that they're sole proprietor and they have their own business. And then just to check that they're like self-employed individual, unable to work, due to the disaster, list the reason why. So yeah.
Well, since we are at 1 o'clock, Veronica, I just want to be respectful of your time. Do you have a few extra minutes, or shall we close and take some of these questions by email or another?
If it's okay, I'd like to take the questions by email so I can better answer them. Yeah.
Okay, great. So please, if you've already entered your email, your question into the chat, we're going to compile those, and I'm going to share her email in just a second. I'm going to share my screen again so you have her contact info. We'll make sure that all those questions get to her. Of course, you can also follow up directly by email.
So I do want to add it in our office when you call in order to assist you, we do ask you to fill out our enrollment forms, only because it's the only way we can count as having assisted you. So I just want to set that expectation that people, unless they're just asking like a few questions, but the person actually would have to complete our enrollment forms, just so they know.
Great. And there was one, or I think Gabriela added one, added the address that people were asking about in the chat. Gabriela, if you welcome, if you want to be a resource, feel free to add your email to the chat box. But of course, we respect whatever privacy you have.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't do it in the chat.
Got it.
Yeah, I'll talk to you.
Sounds good. So we'll share, as you can see on the screen, Veronica's contact info. If it's okay, Veronica, we can share the whole presentation with participants. And we can also share the copy of the application that Veronica already shared with us. Thank you so much, Veronica, again. Thank you everyone for your patience and flexibility. This is really complicated stuff. So it's great to have several resources in the room. Thank you, Gabriela. Just a couple other things as we close. We do want to point you to a few resources. We, as an organization, have been compiling resources for artists during COVID-19. You can basically go to our website and see that on the front, link on the front page, but this is the page itself, ACTA Online/resources for traditional arts. And basically, it's something that we're trying to update almost daily. There's different resources related to, government support, and also specifically grants, or not grants, but stimulus funding, relief funding for artists, including information about the PUA, etc. So please, if you have a chance, go ahead and look through that, and feel free to ask us any questions. The other resource I'll point you to is Surf Plus. They're another artist organization, and they also have a great web page focused on resources during this time. So please check them out, surfplus.org, and you can get there by clicking on Get Relief. And we are going to hold this session one more time next, in about a week on Monday the 8th, and we're doing it fully in Spanish. So for those of you who want to listen to it again in Spanish, we're going to promote it, of course, to other folks who are most comfortable in Spanish. Please stay tuned for that. That's on Monday, the 8th of June, again at 12 p.m. It'll be on Zoom, and Veronica will be joining us again. And maybe Gabriela as well will ask. The whole Traditional Arts Roundtable Series, it will continue. We have different sessions that we're planning for the rest of the year, most likely online. So just please follow us at CalTrad Arts. That's our email and our website. And one last thing, we do have a survey that we use to kind of hear what you thought of the session. You can also include their ideas about future sessions. So I just put that link in the chat box. If you have a chance, please click on that link and take that short survey. It'll probably take about 5 minutes. Feel free to share your feedback and ideas for future sessions there. You can also share some ideas in the chat box. I think that's it. If other ACTA folks have anything to add, otherwise we just want to thank everyone so much again for your time, and we will see you next time.
Yeah.
Take care.
I'll just add a technical note that this live stream has been, or this Zoom meeting has been live streamed on ACTA's Facebook page at Alliance for California Traditional Arts. It will now be archived on our page. So if you missed something, if you want to go back to the top, that's the place to go. You can also share it out with folks easily that way.
And folks, if you're having trouble with the survey, apologies. We'll just make sure to email that with the other resources we'll send out, hopefully by today. Sorry for that, but thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Take
Thanks
care.
for joining.